What's good, everybody? We are back again.
What up, though?
With another episode of the
No
Hedging Podcast.
Yes, sir.
I go by the name of Rip16, but some people also like to call me the greatest of all time.
Who are those people?
Several.
Okay. I am Ty the Jet, man. Y'all know who it is, the Jet guy.
Yeah, man. So, we back for another episode, man. And basketball been turning up. It's been getting intense. They've been doing their thing over there. And it's time for those finals. It's time for the East and the Western Conference finals, so we can see who gets to the finals.
We've been closer. I would say this though. These series, this playoff series has been very entertaining.
For sure.
Yeah, I think one of the most entertaining ones we've seen in quite some time.
For sure.
And I think it's mainly because of the young faces, the new teams that we are seeing in these spots that are winning games.
And I think I think for the first time in a long time we're in a situation where we don't exactly know who's gonna win.
Right.
Like I think for a long time with the LeBron and Steph. The Miami, the Cleveland, the Warriors dynasty,
yeah.
like between that, we already knew it was either gonna be Steph or LeBron.
Them or them. Him or him.
For a long time.
Yeah.
So I think besides that one that Kawhi snuck in there, but other than that, I think that's kind of how we felt for a long, long time.
Right.
So, I think it's dope to see. I think the young guys are stepping up. They're taking their ascension. And we had a talk on Saturday. I was like, he was like, the Nuggets gonna win this. And I was like, I agree. I do think the Nuggets gonna win. But if Ant can pull this off, he's taking a step up.
For sure.
In his ascension. It's not a championship yet, but beating the champs in a Game 7 on the road.
That's a lot.
It's a step up.
Yeah.
So and they pulled it off.
On the road.
So we're gonna get into that in a little bit, man. Make sure y'all like, share, comment, subscribe.
Yes, sir.
Keep supporting the channel so the channel can keep on showing y'all love back. Like I said, we got some cool stuff we really, really, really want to dive into with y'all. But we're trying to build this community, you know what I'm saying? So we can make sure the vibes is right. So the content, it can just match the vibes. What I'm saying? That's it. So with that being said, without further ado, let's get into the crossover.
Let's talk about it.
All right, man. So the first game that we have is the Eastern Conference Finals. We have the Indiana Pacers versus the Boston Celtics. The Celtics are a 10-point favorite in this game, a whopping 10-point favorite. Now, before we get into that particular game, let's dive into how they got here a little bit. What did you see from the Pacers versus the Knicks that impressed you and makes you believe that they earned this spot to be here?
Yeah, so like I was mentioning in a couple of the series games was I wanted to see Halliburton be more aggressive, taking more shots, be the scorer, less facilitating.
He definitely came out and did that.
You know what I'm saying?
In Game 7.
So he was the aggressor, right? So that's what I wanted to see. I wanted to be more aggressive. I wanted him to score more points instead of facilitating as much as he has. But I understand the facilitation part, getting his teammates involved, and et cetera. But we definitely wanted to see him score because I think that's what his real talent is. I think he's a good scorer. He could be a great scorer if he so chooses to. He can finish at the rim. He can attack the rim. He can shoot the three, as we all know. Weird, unorthodox form. But that thing goes in. And hits all net. Doesn't hit rim. None of that. So it's clean.
Yeah.
But they also had help, right? Jalen Brunson got injured, hurt his hand, was out in the third quarter.
Fracture, right?
Yeah, and that right there pretty much sealed the game up. You know what I mean? And but the Knicks, they were beating up the whole series anyway. They're beating up the whole playoffs, and they was just fighting and battling.
OG Anunoby came out there for a second. That hammy, though.
Yeah, knocked down some threes. He came back, knocked down some shots, and scored a little bit here and there. I think he came back a little bit too soon. Yeah. Came back too soon. But he was trying to tough it out and thug it out. But what happened, it was the war of attrition, right? The war of attrition, and the Knicks lost that battle. which essentially forced them to lose the series, you know?
Yeah, they had 5 or 6 injuries. That was my thing. It was like 5 or 6 injuries is going to make it tough, especially against the Pacers in particular who like to run.
Yeah.
So, running is not the friend of an injury. So to me, I think that in the long run just, push them over the top and allow the Pacers to, stick to what they've been doing, which is run and gun. And like you said, the aggressiveness of Halliburton definitely pushed it over the top and made a big difference on top of that. So, even before the Jalen Brunson injury, they came out with a lot of energy and effort.
Oh, yeah.
But I will say the Knicks, like I've been saying, are one of those teams that just doesn't give up on a game. So them coming out early and getting the lead on them wasn't exactly a concern. But like you said, Jalen Brunson's injury, that just put it over the top because
sealed the deal.
Anunoby, Bogdanović, Julius Randle been out, but just all those injuries stacking up and piling up, it was just too much for the Pacers' speed and the way that they play. And to their credit, they were having a good game on the road starting out. They've been a defensive liability at certain times, but Miles Turner even steps up and wipes out some shots. He's still known as a really good shot blocker, and it
was a good team effort by the Pacers too. It was a good team
effort. It was a really good team effort. They did their thing, so I think they earned their spot. Honestly, Knicks injuries or not, I think the Pacers still earned their spot.
Siakam had 20, Nesmith had 19, Miles Turner 17, Nembhard had 20, McConnell.
They balanced it out. He's good off the bench.
McConnell. Without McConnell, they not here. McConnell been cooking. He's been
really good off the bench, and he plays some defense too.
Yeah.
So I like what TJ McConnell's been doing for them. I can't really say anything negative about the Pacers. They did their thing. They earned their spot. They earned it for sure. So I can't say anything negative about them. Some people want to, but me personally, I don't.
Nah, you can't.
Now the Boston Celtics, on the flip side of that, guess I can start off what I see about the Celtics, man. They're the most talented, lazy team I've seen.
The laziest talented team.
The laziest talented team that's probably there. They have, don't they have the best record in the league?
I think so.
Off regular season?
Yeah.
They had the best record purely off of talent. Like, because at times they do play lazy. At times they know how to switch it on and they turn it on. They play like a team that's already won a championship, and that concerns me a little bit because they haven't.
Right. Right.
Because I seen the Lakers do that. Right. They hit this switch like in March. So it's like, they jogging up the court. They kind of trailing. LeBron's like, move or whatever. But then in March or early April, they like, all right,
turn up the intensity. Yeah.
Closing out. Like the defensive end, it's a switch. And it's like, okay, now they're ready. I feel like Boston kind of does that in an even lazier way. It's like y'all operating like y'all already won something. And y'all didn't. I want to see them just more intense and play the whole game through. I'm a little bit concerned about Boston in this series against the Pacers, honestly. But I will say against the Cavs, much like the Knicks, they were kind of banged up. Once Donovan Mitchell was out,
it was over with. They had no shot to begin with, but with him being out,
they had a mountain to climb with Donovan Mitchell.
Right.
So when Donovan Mitchell was out, it was just like, that's it.
Yeah.
So Jason Tatum, he showed up. He made some appearances in Game 5. Had him. He's been consistent on the boards.
Rebounded.
I do like that about Jason Tatum right now, even though he hasn't been tremendous with scoring during this past couple series, but he has been on the glass, which I think is good, especially in the absence of Porzingis. But what did you see out of Boston?
Yeah, one thing when Boston plays that I feel like they play like LA Fitness style. It's like it's not really team ball per se. It's like, all right, you get the rebound. It's like ISO this. All right, set a screen here, set a pick here, whatever. Get the ball, try to make something happen off the dribble. There's not that much movement off screens and stuff like that. I don't see much of that. And I've been seeing that for a while. I don't know if that's just the style of play.
I think they're just so good they don't even need
to do all that. Yeah, it's like, okay, well, all right, Brown, go ahead. You it's your turn now. Go ahead, get your 25. Okay, Tatum, it's time to do this. My only concern with Jason Tatum is him closing games. I don't see him being like having that dog in him to be like, okay, I'm gonna be a closer. I'm gonna finish out the game, kind of like Jamal Murray style, right? Like, hey, put the ball in my hand. I want to close this game out. I'm gonna make the shots, the big shots to win the game, seal the game, make sure we good. Now he'll have his time when his stretches of scoring and whatnot, but sometimes he goes missing in the fourth quarter. You know what I'm saying? But I think, like what's been going on the whole playoff run. Derek White is going to be a key in this series. You know what I mean? They're going to need him.
Derek White is the glue guy. He
does
whatever you need him to do.
Yeah, he cooled down the last couple games against the Cavs, but they're going to need him to be consistent.
But did they need him to beat Jared Allen
they didn't need him. They didn't need
Donovan Mitchell-less
Nah.
Cavaliers? No.
They needed him to get that confidence to be like, okay, I can be a scorer in this next series in the Eastern Conference Finals.
I think Derek White already knows that. To be honest, I think Derek White knows that he can score on teams. He can facilitate. He can, make some defensive plays, and Drew Holiday can create some turnovers, and he can kind of push a break. They can play together successfully and as a tandem. I think, Drew Holiday, Derek White. I think they create a lot of opportunities for the Boston Celtics to kind of run the floor. And, of course, you got Jaylen Brown who can finish. And then, you got Jason Tatum he's like, I'm
all-around player.
He's like, I'm here whenever y'all need me.
Right. So cruise control.
And when they have Porzingis, you have, like, an obscene amount of height that's shooting threes and, just
stretching that space in the floor.
Spacing the floor, and you still got Al Horford, who's been in the league since the beginning of time.
2008.
He was the land before time at this point. But he's still productive.
Yeah.
During that last game, him and Jason Tatum were really the tandem that took it over the top and just closed that game out, because he had a real nice double-double in that game 7. I mean, sorry, not game 7, game 5 that they closed them out. So I think they got enough pieces.
25 and 15.
He had a great game.
Yeah, 35 minutes. That was good.
So, I mean, I think they got the pieces, what it takes, and kind of transitioning into this game, the Celtics at home in game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals versus the Indiana Pacers. I think the Celtics have what it takes to beat this series and win this series, because talent-wise, they are the superior team when it comes to talent-wise. However, like we just alluded to, they get lazy at times.
They can't get lazy against this team.
They're not about to walk off on the Pacers.
No. They got to earn this.
The Pacers going to make their ass run.
Yeah, they got to earn it. The
Pacers are going to make you run.
Because the Pacers were in the dogfight. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? They were just in a dogfight. So now...
But they're not afraid of a dogfight.
Yeah, they're not afraid of a dogfight. And I don't think the Celtics are gonna bring that.
For those of you that don't know, my guy Ty here is a very avid reader. And one of the things he was just talking about was your belief system.
Yeah, your belief system.
And he spoke on references.
Yeah.
Maybe he can tell you more about the title of the book and all that. But he spoke about references. And once you have some strong references, they just got out of a game 7 where they was in a dogfight and they won. They were in another series where they probably weren't even the favorite and they won. So do you think they're going against a team that can be lazy at times and think they can win? Absolutely, think they can win.
Yeah, for sure. This series can definitely go 7 games.
It can.
It can definitely go 7 games.
It can definitely go 7 games. I just think it's a matter of which Boston Celtics team is going to come out.
Yeah.
If Boston Celtics come out and play from start to finish and be dominant, it's hard for anybody to beat them.
Right.
But if they come out here playing around like I think they're going to do, this shit might go 7.
Yeah. I think my prediction for this series, I think Boston is going to win game 1. Not by 10. But I think Boston
like the 10-point spread.
But I think Boston is going to win game 1, and I think this series is going to go 6 games. I think Boston in 6. I think Boston in 6. If they
I think
don't come out
I
here
agree
playing
with that.
around.
I think it's at least a 6-game series at minimum.
Boston
I think
is
it's
6.
Because Boston just play around with their food too much. They're going to lose 2 games.
And I need them to win to go to the Eastern Conference Finals because I got a future on that. So, come on.
I think ultimately they pull it off.
Yeah.
I still don't know the status of Porzingis. Like, what's his status?
No clue.
I think that's going to be a big deal in that finals for sure. But
in the finals,
the Eastern Conference Finals, Indiana's
they can
not
get through.
a huge team.
Yeah, they can get through that.
Miles Turner doesn't play like a.
He doesn't
really
play big. Yeah, he plays outside a lot. Yeah.
He stretches the floor, but I don't think that'll be a much of an issue for Horford.
No.
I don't think that'll be much of an issue for Horford to guard him at the 3-point line. So I'm curious to know when he comes back because I do think it makes a difference in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah, because they're bigger over there.
Those guys are big.
Yeah, they're big on the West.
I think it does make a difference, but we shall see. I mean, I think with this series, I think they went in, like you said, maybe 6 or 7.
Because the way I'm looking at it is like, okay, the Knicks, they didn't really have elite scoring outside of Jalen Brunson.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
No.
But the Celtics, they have elite scorers over there. You know what I'm saying? So they can compensate for that lack of toughness with their ability to score. You know what I'm saying? So,
and I don't think they have like superior guard defense in particular. Siakam can kind of do something with Jason Tatum, slow him up. He can have some length and stretch. But I mean, it's hard to stop Jason Tatum for anybody.
Yeah.
But I think he can do something and kind of deter him a little bit, especially while he's already kind of in a shooting slump.
Tatum gonna cook Siakam.
I don't think he's gonna cook him.
He gonna cook him.
I don't think he's gonna cook him. I think
on
he's
the
gonna
offensive end, probably.
I don't think he's
defensive
gonna
end, maybe
cook him.
not. I don't know.
Me personally, I don't think he's just finna cook him like that. He might have a game or two where he gets as flambé, but I don't think he's gonna cook him for the whole series. Now the problem is gonna be Jalen Brown.
Jalen Brown. Is Halliburton
Who guarding? I hope not.
No.
That boy don't play no defense like that.
Jalen Brown gonna cook him.
Now that's who might cook. This is a moment for Jalen Brown to step up and really fucking cook if he wants to.
Yeah.
Because I don't think nobody on that side has the athleticism or the defensive prowess to be able to hold Jalen Brown. So I think
they were struggling with Jalen Brunson.
Him and Derek White. Jalen Brunson is shifty, man.
Yeah, he's shifty, but
and
still,
he draws a lot of fouls.
But Jalen Brown does the same thing. He'll attack the rim too now.
He attacked the rim, but he does it different than Jalen. Like Jalen is,
Jalen, he's crafty with it.
He's very crafty.
Yeah.
But Jason and Jalen on Boston, they know how to get to their spots. So I think
Celtics in 6.
So I'm liking the Celtics. I'm not convinced about 10 points though. I don't know about the Celtics just blowing them out off the muscle like this. Because honestly, I don't think the Pacers are tired from that last series. I think they're so used to running all year that they're not tired from. I ain't seen the Celtics
play in a week.
They might come out a little sluggish just from.
They might. Yeah.
They've been out here with Brulick and Jays kicking it.
Yeah.
And the Pacers still fired up. So.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if the Pacers stole one in this game, to be honest.
It's possible, but I don't think so, man. I just think offensively,
on point spreads, I would definitely go plus 10 on the Pacers more than I would Boston Celtics minus 10. I can tell you that right the fuck now. I'm not sure they're so even kill. Maybe you get a Nimhart prop in there if you like a good prop. But they're so even kill with the scoring. It's hard to say with their overs and unders on their points sometimes. But I do think they're going to have to continue to use good ball movement.
Halliburton's going to have to be aggressive. He's going to have to continue being aggressive. They need his scoring. They're going to need it. You can assist all day long, but if you ain't putting up 25, 30 points, then it's going to be hard to beat the Celtics.
Very, very. I think their only saving grace right now is Porzingis ain't out there, but other than that, it's tough.
Yeah.
I do like Jason Tatum on those rebounds. I think he continues his rebounding because, the Pacers aren't like a crazy rebounding team. So I do like him on the over on the rebounds. Maybe Nembhard on the points. They don't have his points super high. He's only at like 10.5.
Yeah, I like that.
Nembhard on the points might not be bad, and I think Derek White consistently comes out and plays hard. So maybe you get a. They got him at 25.5. That's a little high. I have to meditate on Derek White points and get back with y'all on that. But yeah, that's what we're seeing for that series in particular. Now, next game on the slate.
West Side.
They not like us. We have the Dallas Mavericks versus the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Yep.
Timberwolves are a 4-point favorite in game 1 of the Western Conference Finals.
The fan favorites.
Yeah, man. So what did you see to get these two teams here, man? Starting with Dallas.
I figured Dallas would beat OKC. I mentioned it. Yeah, I mentioned
you
it.
did.
I mentioned that.
You did.
Yeah, I mentioned that. I picked Dallas to beat OKC in the series.
I did not.
I know. I just felt like Kyrie, Luka, they have other guys on the back end that's helping them as well. I just felt like they had a little bit more. I wouldn't say you can't say experience to a degree, and then they have this crazy stat. You can say they have this crazy experience. They had this crazy stat with Kyrie. He's like 14-0 in must-win games to advance to the next round. Like must-win game, like it's 14-0, crazy. Player. But I like Dallas because that last game they played in OKC, what was it, game 6? Game 6. It kind of did like a dud. It was like a dud. You know what I mean? Luka didn't play his great. And Kyrie didn't play as great either. He didn't score as much. And I figured that was that game 6 where Kyrie had 9 points. Or was that game 5? Can't remember.
Let me look.
Can't remember. But either way, I figured that Dallas would be able to rebound, figure out a way to beat OKC, and they did. They did as such. I think Luka, obviously, he's a tough person to guard when he's on. When Kyrie is on, obviously finishing at the rim with all his old English that he has at the rim,
yeah,
and
boy speaks
a
English,
contortionist
Chinese.
in the air. Like
he speaks English, Mandarin, German.
Yeah, a contortionist is just crazy. So, I figured Dallas was going to win that series. I like Luka, Kyrie. I think they were a little bit more experienced. I don't think they gave everything they had throughout the games that they did lose. They had some little hiccups here and there, which allowed OKC to get some
OKC was
W's.
number 1, so OKC had the home court on game 7.
Yeah, they won on the road.
So they won at home in game 6, but
I like Dallas in that series. It's just Luka and Kyrie. I mean, you got SGA, solid player, and then you got other guys over there too. But I feel like SGA is the only guy over there. You know what I mean?
He's not.
I think
Jalen Williams.
He had like 17.
I mean, but I'm saying in terms of who they defer to and who they give the ball to. I mean, you got Jalen Williams. You have Chet, who goes on runs at times. You have, a couple guys off the bench like Cason Wallace, and a couple of guys who can just come off and score some points.
Still a young team, though.
But they're a very young team for sure.
Yeah.
Josh Giddey did not do much offensively. I think he got very afraid of his own shot at some point. So Josh Giddey wasn't producing as much. But I think the part that impressed me about Dallas the most was Kyrie actually wasn't even scoring that much.
He was assisting.
He was assisting some, but honestly, in traditional sense of what we've seen out of Kyrie numbers, he had low output, if I'm being honest. And they still managed to win some of those games. The impressive part of those games was P.J. Washington.
Yeah, P.J. went crazy. He was knocking down on threes, boy.
He was the consistent number 2.
He was knocking down on threes. Yeah. P.J. cooking.
P.J., you had Derek. He was getting some.
He was knocking down the clutch threes. That's what it was. Clutch threes.
I think they made timely baskets.
Yeah, here goes Luka 29 and 10, triple double, 29, 10 and 10. Kyrie 22, Lively had 12. Lively was cooking too off the bench.
Lively and PJ Washington.
Derrick Jones cooking 22. Yeah, those boys they played with.
Kyrie had 22 in that game, which was like a higher output than he had in several games. But I think just my point being is that
and it was a comeback game now. OKC had that. They had it in the wraps.
They did. They lost by one. Mm-hmm. You know, I really like SGA not making any excuses about it. He was like, you know, I fouled him, and you know, that's what happened. I hate that I fouled him, but you know, I fouled him, and they ended up losing that game by one. Credit to PJ for making his free throws, and they closed it out. So I think the impressive part about Dallas in that series was that they were able to find other ways of scoring outside of Kyrie and Luka, because Luka didn't have a whole bunch of crazy games scoring either.
Nah, he didn't.
Now he did good in that closeout game and game 6, but I mean he had 18, 22. He had a 29-point game, but he had a couple games in the middle
where it was they were both low scoring.
But yeah, they managed to put it together as a team effort, like you said. So all 4 of these teams, I'll say, to get to this point have been very team oriented. And it's not just been one guy just beating the hell out of you. So, you know, the others have stepped up and made some names for themselves during this playoff run as well. And I think that's been the coolest part about this whole playoff run. So the Mavericks earned their spot. I mean, it was just straight up mano a mano. They went head to head. They made runs when they needed to. Basketball is a game of runs, and they made the right runs when they needed to. And they came back and they overtook OKC after getting punched in the mouth in Game 6.
Yeah,
because they got punched real fucking hard in Game 6. They came back in Game 7 on the road, and they closed it out in a very close game, clutch. Came through when they needed to, so I can't do nothing but respect it. Luka going to his second
I think.
Finals? Or is this his first one? I can't think. Western Conference Finals. I can't remember. But got a chance to go to the finals if he can get through the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Good luck getting through them boys.
All right, so we just talked about Dallas, but there's another team in the Western Conference Finals that they are playing against.
Timberwolves.
They need to change their name to Dogs. Because, go Dogs.
Right.
Boy, Anthony Edwards brought some of that UGA fight in. Yeah. And they came back in a miraculous Game 7 to get to this Western Conference Finals. So, what did you see out of the Minnesota Dogs that made you think they earned their spot in this Western Conference Finals?
So for the whole entire series versus the Nuggets, what the main thing that stood out to me throughout the whole series was defense from Minnesota.
Yeah.
Defense.
Whenever they won games, it was defense.
Defense. Now, when we're talking about Game 7, well, defense and, of course, Ant-Man with a couple high-scoring games and whatnot. And even some of those high-scoring games, they didn't win. Like Game 6 they didn't win? So, like, even some of those games they didn't win. Or did they win Game 6? I can't remember. But even some of those games they didn't win. But what happened was in Game 7, another thing that stood out to me was the offensive rebounds.
Yeah.
And then the other guys. Because Ant-Man, I think he went like 8 for 24 or 6 for 24 or something crazy like that.
He didn't have a great shooting.
And with only 16 points. You know what I'm saying? But it was the other guys. Jaden McDaniel. It was Karl Anthony Towns. It was the sixth man of the year. Nas Reed. It was those guys that actually, you know, got that game won. You know what I'm saying? So especially on the road in Denver, you know, that was a huge win for the Timberwolves. Full out team effort. Rudy Gobert on the inbound, you know, in the end of the game, doing a turnaround jumper.
Yeah, I was
don't ever see that.
I was like,
once he hit that, it was over. Once he hit that, it was over. Because after that, it was other sequences where you got Nas Reed coming down with a putback dunk. You got a turnover. You know, Anthony Edwards going down with a dunk. You got another turnover. Anthony Edwards, Nas Reed get the ball, kicks it out to Anthony Edwards, knocks down the three. You know what I'm saying? So, and then on the other side of that, you know, Joker, he wasn't shooting well from the 3-point line.
No.
Michael Porter Jr., he wasn't shooting well at all. So
he wasn't shooting well during the series.
Wasn't doing well. Aaron Gordon, you know, he wasn't really there Game 7 either. So it was just a whole full-blown out, full team win, full effort by the Minnesota Timberwolves.
But they stepped up the defensive intensity to the Minnesota Timberwolves' credit. I mean, I think during that game, even though we both like, okay, they didn't have their most phenomenal games, but Jokic and Murray still had 35 and 34. Mm-hmm. I mean, 34 and 35.
But where was
and
Aaron
they both
Gordon?
went 13 of Murray went 13 out of 27. Jokic went 13 out of 28. Mm-hmm. They didn't shoot very well from three, but to their credit, though, I think it was a lot of defensive intensity, especially at the guard positions, because Mike Conley created some turnovers for them. And created some turnovers and also made some timely threes and made some timely shots. He didn't have a great shooting game himself. He only had 16 points. But it was more so when he made the shots that he made, along with the team, creating turnovers and making plays. So I think to their credit, that was that fight. That was their dog. Like, how do you respond when your best player is not having his best night? Can you still win a game? Yeah. And that's what they did. So they came out and they won 2 games back to back. They won Game 6 and they won and came back and won Game 7 on the road. So that's tough, but they did it through a balanced effort. You know, you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players in double digits scoring. So to me, that's a balanced team effort. 2 people outscored Ant. So my whole thing is just, it was an all around team effort. They stepped up the defensive intensity in the second half of that Game 7 for sure. Yeah, and that they got definitely did it.
Those turnovers,
because Rudy Gobert ass was getting bullied in that first half.
Oh yes, he was. Cat was giving it to him,
falling down on the ground. Rudy Gobert,
what's the name?
Jokic gave him the business. He did that one spin move in the post, missed the shot, got his own rebound, went back up. I'm like, okay, they just bullying these guys in the paint. But second half, they step up their intensity. I think the Minnesota Timberwolves wins and losses is just completely predicated on defense because they can score as a team. Yeah. So it's not like you need Ant to go out and have 30 or 40.
Yeah, especially if you got Jalen McDaniels putting up 20? What he had, 23. Yeah.
And Cat had 23.
Yeah.
So once you have that type of balanced effort and you got Nas Reed coming off the bench giving you some quality minutes, Nas Reed did a lot defensively against Jokic.
Yeah, offensive rebounds
and played.
Getting second chance opportunities, all of that.
He won 6 Man of the Year for a reason.
Yeah.
So I think Nas Reed came in and made a tremendous impact,
especially
on that game,
in the fourth quarter.
Especially in the fourth, with his offensive production and his defensive prowess, just to step up and take on their challenge in a lot of those situations. So they earned it. It was earned, not given. They fought back, and Atlanta is proud of you, buddy. We're happy that you're here, Ant. So we're gonna see what they do now. When it comes to this series, the Minnesota Timberwolves looking like they're probably the favorite now that they beat the champs.
Wolves in 6.
Wolves in 6.
Wolves in 6.
No Luka Magic?
No Luka Magic.
I think if they keep up the defensive intensity,
defense.
I think they can beat them.
Defense, absolutely. Defense and length. Defense
they
and
do
length.
Have defensive length. The Dallas got some sneaky length though, because PJ Washington scratching the floor like he been doing, and Derek Lively catching lobs, and Rudy Gobert is trash at defending the 3-point line.
Yeah.
Defensive player of the year or not, like
you don't want him out there. You want him in the paint.
The floor
you want him in the paint.
His Achilles heel.
You want him in the paint.
So and with PJ Washington shooting like that, you don't necessarily have to have him in the paint. Now Derek Lively, I think he lives in the paint a lot more. He gets a lot of lobs and stuff like that. But Kyrie is shifty. He's been passing a little bit more. I think with Kyrie drawing the attention of the defense, Rudy Gobert in the paint can't make quick shifts to turn around and switch on another defender if he comes out and helps. So it's going to have to be some very good one-on-one defense, and we know that Kyrie is hard to guard on one-on-one. You're going to need some type of help.
Apparently, Ant-Man going to be guarding him.
Which I'm not mad at that. That's smart.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Ant has to either take on Luka or Kyrie.
He's going to take Kyrie. He said it in postgame.
So who's guarding Luka? Jaden?
Probably. That's the length. That's the only size.
We're going to see how that goes.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if that end up switching.
Yeah, they'll probably switch. Yeah,
but
because Luka's big body.
Luka's a big dude, and he plays his own pace.
Yeah,
and he's hard to guard too. So you're gonna want your best on-ball defender on him, and I think that's probably Ant.
But here's the thing: like Luka loves the 3-ball. So when you got Luka who loves the 3-ball and the step back, step to the side with the 3-ball, and you got the length on the perimeter. I think that more so favors.
But he's not a
Minnesota.
one-dimensional scorer, though.
Yeah.
And then he's also a passer. So, and with PJ Washington shooting like that.
So you saying PJ Washington the X factor?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
They're gonna need somebody else. They're gonna need somebody else.
Who's guarding him?
They're gonna need somebody else.
And if Ant is guarding Kyrie and Jaden is guarding Luka, who the hell is Mike Conley guarding?
He gonna guard Kyrie.
Somebody's open.
Yeah, he gonna guard Kyrie. So
who the hell is Mike Conley guarding? So my whole thing is somebody is gonna be available.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you this: them dunks, all them dunks and shit, them alley oops and stuff. That's not gonna be going down like that. Unless
if Karl Anthony Towns plays decent defense
and plays smart
stop fucking reaching.
The dumb fouls, bro.
Stop
the dumb fouls.
Stop trying to get these bullshit steals that you trying to get on top
at
10
the half court.
Yeah, stop.
Or at the 3-point line.
He pissed me off so bad with that because I'm like, you could be so much better than that.
Hell, even Reggie Miller was saying it.
What are you doing right now?
He was like, it's dumb fouls. Like unnecessary fouls, bro.
If you're gonna do that and you a big man, save those fouls for in the paint.
Yeah.
Because then at least you can stop a score in the paint and get an opportunity to make them get 1 point or no points on a drive.
Yeah.
Rather than just giving up fouls and then they in the penalty and then they getting these extra shots every time they get to the paint after that.
Another thing that helped Minnesota out
Luka's
too.
gonna draw some fouls.
Another thing that helped Minnesota out as well was the fact that the Nuggets got into foul trouble in the fourth quarter. It was probably about 7 or 8 minutes left. So every time the Nuggets foul, who's going to the line? Minnesota shooting free throws.
Rudy Gobert fouled out too, though.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, they was in some foul trouble too. But I think it was just the intensity overall, and defensive intensity, and the turnovers that they turned into points.
Yeah.
That took it there. You know, if they can replicate that, they're gonna be hard to beat.
Wolves in 6.
Yeah, I like the Wolves in game 1 of this too. I think they still fired up.
Yeah,
I like the Wolves in game 1.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure. So yeah, man, that's the games for the slate right now. We got 2 big ones. We pretty much in agreement that it's gonna be Boston and Minnesota for these series. That's what we're saying early.
Yeah.
Barring any type of major injuries or anything like that, you know, knock on wood.
Right.
But that's where we at with it, man. I think it'll be some interesting series. I think both of them at least going 6 games.
Yeah. For sure.
But I think the defensive prowess in Minnesota is going to elevate them over Dallas, who at times have been struggling just a tad bit offensively, especially if Kyrie and Luka are not being prolific that night. PJ Washington and Derek Lively have been able to come in and pick up some slack, but Minnesota's defense is a little bit better than what they just went against. So
yeah, for sure.
To me, I think the better defense is going to elevate them over the top, and they still healthy. You know, so I think that's a big one. And Boston, you know, just play like you can play. Don't be lazy, bro. Just play.
Yeah, they're gonna play. They got more scoring than what the Knicks had, and I think that's gonna be the deciding factor right there.
Yeah, just don't think you too damn good though. Don't do that.
Yeah.
Like, stop doing that. Y'all think y'all know y'all are too good, and y'all are playing like it, and that's how y'all end up.
Money will do that to you.
Sneaky.
Money will do it to you.
Yeah, don't do that. So,
we got the bag. We chilling.
yeah,
Nah.
stop. But yeah, man. Y'all make sure y'all like, share, comment, subscribe. Y'all stay tuned to everything that we got going on over here. You know, y'all keep our motion going so we can keep the motion going for y'all.
Appreciate y'all for watching.
And we definitely appreciate y'all for watching. If you're a Clippers fan,
we're still looking for you. Where you
still
at?
got a
haven't heard from you.
I'm not letting up on you.
Yeah.
But make sure y'all enjoy, man. Peace.
We out. Still looking for them Clippers.
You okay finally, bro?
Where they at though?